Alright, can we hear me? Audio all good? Audio? Yeah? I need some yeses. Hello? Yeah? Yeah? Alright. 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 Okay. So, first things first. Okay, yeah. The finals are on soon. So here's the deal. I think we're gonna keep this stream maybe about an hour. About an hour. I was trying to stream earlier, but it's just stuff got in the way. I was trying to do this earlier. Stuff got in the way. Finals are starting soon. I may or may not have the finals open in another tab, and just watching that out of the corner of my eye. May or may not. Yeah. Bad mic. Audio isn't good though? What? No. Testing. Well, how about... Fuck. You sure it's not good? Oh, man. Now I'm really worried, because I did just record a video, and it's kind of important that video's audio is good. Mic echo. It's fine. No, it's not fine. We're gonna fix this right now. If I go here... Yeah, shit. Audio's good? Is it good? Is it good or great? Is it good or great? It's good? Great. It's fine? Alright. We can live with fine. I think we can live with fine. Sounds a little weird, but who cares? I care. It's my stream. What do you mean, who cares? Alright. We're gonna fix this audio. I hate trying to fix the audio, though. What if I did... Let me do this. Alright. I think I did it. I think we're good. It should be good now. It should sound crystal clear. At this point. If you guys are complaining, it's in your head at this point. I think at this point it's 100%. It's not getting any better than this. Alright? Yeah. Join Brago's stream. Is Brago streaming at the same time? Hold on. Brago DA's BDA law. Poor timing. I have to compete with Brago and the NBA Finals at the same time. That's okay. You know what? Tell those kids at Brago's stream to come on over here. They've had enough of Brago. It's enough at this. How much Brago do you even need to listen to? Behenord asks, Warriors in 6, Warriors in 6, Warriors in 7, or Celtics in 7? I mean, I'm biased. I want the Warriors to win, so I'd like to see him just do it tonight. Warriors in 6. That's what I got. Chapter Thoughts says the Jinchuriki. So let me pull up the chapter in another tab. Let me see. I thought the chapter was cool. I liked the chapter for what it was. Mainly because of Green Bull. Whole Cool says Brago is like 4K. Yeah, well, he had a head start. What am I supposed to do about that? No sound. Arthur Burgerker says, everyone quiet, let me speak to Morge. Yeah, we'll have a conversation. Slow the chat. I'll slow the chat once we get really crazy. Right now we're just at like 700 people. Guys, like the stream. Our primary goal is to pass up Brago's viewership. So that only works if we get some stream likes going, get the engagement up, get the ball rolling a little bit. Agent Summy says, first time catching a stream this early. Thanks for the raid fill memories. Oh, don't say it like that. Was with you until the end. Thank you. Seems like this chapter sets up a potentially more brutal post-Wano with more lore, so fingers crossed. I mean, let's hope so. It is interesting. I think, like, Green Bull brings a pretty... a bit more of an ominous vibe, I guess, towards the ending celebrations and everything like that. Fix sound, please. Is the sound still bad? Tell me this guy's just trolling. Because now it's just going to be in my head. Okay, so we got some questions. Vikrinth is asking, what did Buggy do to accomplish this, though? So that's the $1 million question, or $1 billion question. We don't even know what his bounty is. There's a lot to break down in this chapter. Some stuff was, like, pretty puzzling and just confusing to me. Some stuff was just confusing. Some stuff I was just like, I don't even know what to make of this. The Kid and Law having the same bounty as Luffy, that was a surprise, definitely. Kid and Law having the same bounty as Luffy. I was just like, I think I get it if they're just splitting the credit 3 ways. It feels a little underwhelming to me, because for me it's a little bit like, we all know, like, we the reader know that Luffy deserves at least double fucking Kid's bounty. That's for sure. Maybe not double Kid's bounty, but you know what I mean. Like, we all know that Luffy was head and shoulders above these other two in terms of significance when it comes to this Onigashima raid, right? He took on Kaido 1v1 and came out on top pretty much. Ivan back from the card shop says, Law equals Luffy is bigger cap than Buggy as a Yonko. Yeah, it's just a little, it feels a little, how do I say this? It's like a big step forward, obviously. 3 bill, great, doubled his bounty. But it's like, it's all relative at the end of the day, right? So we had already gotten to the point where Luffy had tripled Law's bounty, right? Going from 500 million to 1.5 billion. So that was a really exciting jump, right? Because in the first place, it felt as though Luffy was a lot stronger, had a whole fleet and everything like that coming out of Dressrosa. We all felt as though Luffy's a much bigger deal than Law in the grand scheme of things. But it's like, okay, Oda's playing it kind of like even, saying like Law and Luffy, same bounties at the end of Dressrosa, cool. Then we get to the end of Whole Cake Island and it's like, all right, this is more like it. Luffy 1.5 billion, that's pretty crazy, that's exciting. That's, you know, it feels like such a big jump, wows you. And, you know, it feels right. It's like Oda's listing off all the reasons Luffy has such a high bounty. It's like he beat Katakuri, beat Cracker, has this huge fleet that's traveling the world and everything, right? Now, Luffy beats Kaido. But the world government, it seems, is a little hazy on exactly what went down here. So they're kind of like, fuck it. Whatever happened with Kaido and Big Mom, we're giving the credit, I suppose, 3 ways. So somehow Luffy ended up with the same bounties as Kid and Law, even though Luffy's the one sitting there with a gigantic... God knows how many countries are allied with him. God knows how many countries are allied with him at this point. You could be damn sure the nation of Wano, like the relationship Luffy has with the people of Wano, right? With Momonosuke, the Shogun, the Scabbards and everything like that. Wano is Luffy's country, right? Wano is Luffy's country. Make no mistake. Kid has no stake over Wano. Law has no stake over Wano. If they're planting a pirate flag in this country anytime soon, it's Luffy's, right? Fishman Island, Wano. Luffy's like Zoe. His influence in the New World is unmatched by these other two. He has a gigantic fleet. Law has Beppo the bear. Kid has Killer, which is great. But beyond that, it's a Killer and a bunch of scrubs. So Killer and the scrubs. Law has just scrubs. Luffy has not only a crew that is 10 times better than their crews. You could put Kid and Law's crew, combine the 2 crews together. It's still got nothing on Luffy's crew, right? And then on top of that, Luffy's got a fleet. They don't have a fleet. On top of that, Luffy's got countries and countries and countries. Strong countries too. Not just shitty countries like Drum Kingdom. He's got strong countries. He's got Wano, the nation that basically the world government was like, fuck, we're too scared of it, we're not going to fuck with it, except for Green Bull. He's got Wano, he's got Zoe, he's got Fishman Island. He's got the legendary Nika fruit. He beat Kaido one-on-one, where his Kid and Law had to do some weird whole bomb bullshit trickery. There's just I can't list the number of things. It's just bizarre. I'll say this. There's one little thing you can talk about with Law, which is that Law has the Ope Ope no Mi. Law has the Ope Ope no Mi, so like Law's technically, he should already be worth $1 billion from the start. How much is the Ope Ope no Mi supposed to be? Let me see. Ope Ope no Mi. It's supposed to be like 5 billion or something like. Am I crazy? It's supposed to be worth like a lot, right? 5 billion. So to me, it's like either play it like this. Either Law's bounty is justified because he's got the Ope Ope no Mi, which means that like factually he should just be worth 5 billion. Or just make it reasonable. Why is it the same as Luffy's? It's actually insane. Why is Kid's the same as Luffy's? Because Law's, I could understand if it's like, okay, this whole thing was Law's plan. I guess. But I don't know. Agent Summy said, oh wait, no, we covered you. Ivan back from the card shop says, Law equals Luffy is bigger Captain Buggy as a Yonko. Yep. Wisdom Minari says, did you see the subtitle One Piece Odyssey? Yeah, I didn't know what is that? Can someone clarify? What is that? Yeah, Ope is 5 bill, right? So I get it if it's based on the Ope no Mi, but it doesn't look like it because the bounty is 3 billion. I think Law's bounty should either be 5 billion or it should be like something reasonable. Like, if it was like 1 billion, I'd get it. Behanort says, at first I hated Buggy as Yonko. Okay, we can talk about that. At first I hated Buggy as Yonko, but to be honest, it's better than Kid Yonko. Buggy has a big army, Kid has 1 commander level guy and 30 fodder. Here's the tricky thing. So my assumption, I'm kind of holding off on the Buggy Yonko judgments because as far as it seemed to be hinted this chapter that some crazy shit went down in the last 7 days in the outside world. So some shenanigans happened and Buggy ended up as Emperor. That's like the gist of it, right? So I'm assuming that some things happened that took Buggy from probably being nowhere near an Emperor class figure in the world to suddenly being viewed that. Now, the reason I say that, like, something must have changed is because I think people, when they're saying Buggy has a big army, therefore it makes sense that he's an Emperor, I think people are really overblowing that because if you look back, we already know what Buggy's big army is. It's like, Buggy was never really built up as a big deal in the New World, to be clear, because Buggy's best squad in his whole group, his best squad was fucking Hajrudin and his giants. That was Buggy's S-class mercenaries. All right, that was the tippy top. It was Hajrudin. Keep in mind, Luffy fucking one-shotted Hajrudin back before he was even good at hockey and shit. This was like before he learned any advanced observation, before Gear 4th, any advanced hockey, no armament, no advanced observation, no conquerors. This was like day 2 of the New World Luffy. One-shotted Hajrudin casually, right? Like, Buggy, essentially his army, like, we don't know how big the numbers are, so maybe he's got some numbers, but we know that basically, like, as far as things go, his squad is really, 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 really weak. Like, you can say, Kid only has Killer and some whatever, but, like, Killer would probably run through the entire... Killer would destroy Buggy's entire army casually. You know what I mean? Like, you remember how... Because keep in mind, Hajrudin was hyped up as Buggy's best guy. Hajrudin, who is, like, not even the best guy in Luffy's Grand Fleet. Hajrudin doesn't even make, like, the top 3 of Luffy's Grand Fleet. And the Grand Fleet isn't even that strong compared to, like, Luffy's main crew with, like, Zoro and Sanji and Jinbei and shit. Not to mention all the other... Like, there's just so many levels down you have to go before you're like, oh, I could kind of see Buggy being a big deal. It's like, it's literally just fodder. He had these giant pirates, but they left. They were his best guys, and these best guys are basically fucking ass compared to literally anybody else in the New World. So it wouldn't, like, I don't really see an argument being like, oh, he's got numbers, because it's like, you remember, like, when the Tea Party was about to happen, and Big Mom had sent out, like, a few of her people to just, like, raid random islands and just wreck everybody on those islands to pick up some ingredients. So, like, Randolph the Rabbit just soloed a whole island, Amande soloed a whole island and stuff like that. That's essentially what would happen to Buggy and his crew if Hajrudin and his giants were the strongest guys. And they fucking left, which means that, like, he's left with basically no one. So, my assumption is that something happened in the off week. Otherwise, it just kind of makes no sense, right? Because it's like, you can say numbers, but, like, literally anybody with Conqueror's Haki could probably knock out Buggy's entire crew. So, I don't really know if that follows. Mahavid, I would love to see Kid use Conqueror's Haki. We've never seen that yet. Mahavid Sadeki says, Morge, do you think Shanks warned Gorosei about Buggy? Let's not go that far. I don't think that was the case. But Shanks might have warned the Gorosei about... At this point, I'm betting it's Blackbeard. I think that's the easy bet. Goomba Boomba! I always love seeing that name. Why do you think One Piece staff marketed Chapter 1054 as the start of the final saga when Wano Act 3 hasn't ended? Weird, maybe a twist in 1054 to signify a new saga. I mean, that'd be cool to see, but, like, my easy assumption is kind of just, like, it's just marketing. I'm trying to keep my own hopes down that there's going to be some twist, because I'm just, like, setting myself up for more pain and heartbreak, right? So I'm just going to say, like, no, probably no big twist. That's where I'm at. But I'm just kind of assuming that it's marketing, the way marketing works, which is, like, it's cooler to hype up, Like, they probably couldn't time it up perfectly to have Wano end at the same time that Oda's going to take his break and go check out the live action or whatever he's doing. They probably couldn't time that up perfectly. Therefore, they kind of had to market it as basically like, okay, Wano's roughly ending, so the final saga is basically roughly going to start after this. I think that's kind of the way it goes. DR says, Buggy being a Yonko is absolutely hilarious. Now we just need him to get Conqueror's Haki and clash with Shanks for true peak fiction. Buggy actually becoming strong by the end of the story would be the biggest twist by far. Le Man says, I saw tons of Lorge discussions on Twitter today. Oh, jeez. I can't even look. I'm, like, persona non grata on Twitter at the moment. It's not a big deal because, like, this is to be expected. This is basically par for the course to be expected if the raid succeeded. Keep your head up, man. I've loved your theories for years. It's always Mojin time in our hearts. That's nice to hear. Thanks, the man. This is to be expected. We got to ride it out. It's what it is. I think I got to be in hiding from Twitter at least for at least for a minute. But the reputation definitely took a solid hit for at least God knows how long. But, you know, this is basically what we expected. My bigger thing is more so just like disappointment in, I guess, the way the arc ended up. So, you know, memes on Twitter are memes on Twitter. It is what it is. Ivan back from the card shop says, if Law and Kid are supposed to be on this level, why wouldn't Oda just have had them properly beat Big Mom and not some bomb? I don't know, man. I have similar questions. I think my biggest thing is kind of, I'm a little thrown by, like, Oda's kind of doing this dynamic where he is trying to continue to push Law and Kid as Luffy's rivals. It's really hard for me to take either of them seriously as rivals just because I look at, like, one, their individual strength is so far off. Two, their crews are even further far off proportionally. And three, they've got, like, nothing else beyond their... Like, it's very hard for me to take them seriously, believably as rivals. But Oda's kind of pushing that, so I'm like, okay. But on the one hand, he's pushing them as rivals with the bounties, but then he's not giving either of them status as emperor, so it's kind of just... It feels a little weird on both ends because it's to me, it would make more sense if he's like, okay, he made them both emperors, but he lowered their bounties compared to Luffy to kind of signify that, you know, he's still a step ahead. But instead, he kind of made them out to be like all equal in the eyes of how big of a threat they are in the world, but then only Luffy gets the status of emperor. I don't know. Dillionaire says, Sabo in the chapter plus thoughts on Gorosei Detox. Wait. Am I stupid? Maybe. Where's Sabo in the chapter? Did I just miss Sabo in the chapter? I didn't get a super long time to read this carefully. Although, it is my job. So, that's not a good reason. Where's Sabo? Where the hell's Sabo in this chapter? I personally don't see Sabo at all. Is he in the background of some panel? Someone tell me where Sabo is, please. Thoughts on the Gorosei Detox. Okay, the Gorosei Detox confused me too, because they're like, okay, so keep the D out of it, but hasn't all of his... Okay, Luffy first bounty. Let's see. Haven't all of Luffy's bounties had Monkey D in it? Yeah, like, you even have, you know, Kureha commenting on the D and everything like that in the bounty poster that she's looking at. Race Lucas says Luffy's bounty is purposely lowballed because the Gorosei don't want people to know too much about Luffy. That's why they were mad about the G5 picture and they wanted the D removed. That's fair, but don't they think it's a little out of... Hasn't it already... aren't we a little past that point at this point? Didn't we already kind of cross that bridge? Hasn't Luffy already been a fucking huge deal forever? I guess they're just really trying to keep, like, the new Joy Boy version of Luffy out of the picture, but, like, everybody fucking knows it's, like, Monkey D. Luffy. It's kind of a weird thing to still be, and, like, 3 billion berry bounty, like, that's, like, the third highest bounty in existence. Fourth, I guess. No, third, right? Second? Third? Dragon probably is higher. We got Dragon, probably Shanks, and then Dragon, Shanks, Luffy tied with the other three. Like, is it that important to, like, keep it on the down low? Like, hey, wait, let's not make his bounty too high. It's like, guys, it's 3 billion berry. Like, what's the difference between this versus, like, making it a little higher, like 4 billion berry? Seven Ribe says, what do you think of what the Sabo poster means? Where's the Sabo poster? Am I crazy? Where's the Sabo poster? Oh, I see it. Oh, okay. It's in the background of this second. What do I think the Sabo poster means? I have no idea, man. That's interesting. That is interesting. What does that Sabo poster mean? Because that's like, Is that like a Revolutionary Army base or something like that? Probably not. Is it like, is it a giant Sabo wanted poster? Because it doesn't really look like that. I don't have a good guess on that. Poisson Terry says, Pluton is on Kaido's favorite island with Scotch. Kaido's favorite island. That was something funny because that was something that a lot of people talked about frequently. Like, Kaido's favorite island, when's that going to come up again? And Steve says One Piece Odyssey is a game. Oh, okay, not interested. Thanks for filling me in, though. I was like, when's Kaido's island, like, favorite? Or people were like, when's Kaido's favorite island going to come up again? And I think people had that like on their list of things that have to be resolved in Wano. Funnily enough, like I never thought that was ever set up to be a big deal, other than like an offhand comment that like, oh, he just happens to like wintry islands or something like that, you know. So that's something that I think other people were more interested in than I was. Zaibatu says, is this just introduced Admiral actually going to be stronger than Kaido? Lol, man, the disrespect. Okay, so let's talk about Green Bull. So, with Green Bull, I'm going to be honest, introducing him, taking out 2 calamities is very, very bold by Oda. Very, very bold by Oda, because I think up till now, I think that's one of the... I think people are honestly not even making as much of a big deal out of this as it is, because it's a really big deal. Because up till now, I think this is the first time that Oda has hard gone out of his way and clearly settled a long-running power scaling debate in the community, right? Which is, we've always had these three groups, right? So Yonko commanders, admirals, Yonko, right? Now, the debate has always been like, hey, a lot of people believe that Yonko and admirals are like same tier or whatever, and Yonko commanders are way down, versus some other people who believe it's more like a 1, 2, 3 sort of setup. So either you think it's like a commanders, then top tier Yonko plus admirals, or you thought it was like commanders, admirals, Yonko, right? Marineford, like a lot of it is your own interpretation of Marineford, because Marineford, Oda gave strong hints, obviously. Most people could tell admirals above commanders, stuff like that, but like you couldn't tell like how big the gap was conclusively. You could draw on a lot to be like, hey, I think these admirals are significantly stronger than these commanders or whatever. Basically, you could, but Oda never finished clear cut one of those fights without like interference or anything like that. It was all skirmishes, like hints at stuff, right? So like giving us the idea that probably this is the general hierarchy. This was the first time Oda went out of his way and was like, no, this admiral, Green Bull, is clear cut, significantly stronger than these Yonko commanders, significantly stronger than these calamities, and it's like he can walk over them easily, basically. So that pretty much that's probably one of the most concrete and important power scaling feats that I think we've ever gotten in the series. Because that is probably because up till now, like even just comparing admirals and Yonko, you could talk about like a Kainu versus old dying dementia Whitebeard, like literally on life support or whatever. It's like, how much can you even draw from that? And people have different interpretations of like who won that fight even. This is the first time where it's like, fuck, this admiral just fucked up these calamities really easily, right? Like that feels like he could be a threat easily comparable to the Yonko at this moment in time or something like that. Or you know, in that ballpark or whatever, right? It's suddenly, this is the first time I think, like, this is the biggest thing I think you can point to be like, hey, admirals might just be straight up equal to the Yonko or something like that. Like, I'm not giving my own personal opinions here as much. I'm just saying, like, from throughout the series, I think this is the strongest thing that you can kind of point to. Because this is what I would expect Kaido to do to King and Queen, right? I would expect Kaido to, you know, just fuck up King and Queen like that casually. And Green Bull did it. So that's a big deal. That being said, I don't think Green Bull is stronger than Kaido. But he definitely gave us something to talk about, that's for sure. It's fun. It's like, you know, maybe it's just because the NBA Finals are about to start or whatever, but like, it's kind of like he just gave us something that is material for, you know, ESPN debate, first take debate, you know? It's like giving Stephen A. Smith and JJ Redick something to argue about in the morning, you know? Could Green Bull be stronger than Kaido? Blasphemous, blah, blah, blah. D'Lo Smith says Luffy's bounty is being downplayed to hide his threat to the government. If he and the rest have the same bounty, it inspires infighting between them. And that's an interesting idea. That's something that was brought up earlier in the stream too. It's just, to me, it's just like, It's fucking 3 billion berry. It's tied for third highest in the in existence right now, right? Now that Kaido and Big Mom are gone. So it's like, how much are they really even hiding him at this point? Felix C says, Morge, are you satisfied with the answers to the Kakeshi dolls and the man Tenguyama was waiting for? I mean, I think Randy was the one who was first saying that it's Shogun Sukiyaki, and like I think I was already on board with that theory and everything like that. So I'm definitely on board with all of this. So the man that he was waiting for, is that clarified definitely here? Is that definitely clarified here? Let me look again. Is it assumed that it's Momo that he was waiting for? But I don't know. He said, I contemplated committing seppuku, and then she cuts him off to talk about Pluton. By the way, that's very, very rude. What Robin did right there is extremely rude. So what he's literally telling Robin right there is like, he's going into his sad past, and this is what happened to him. I was imprisoned for years. I finally escaped. I found out my son was dead, and the entire nation and people that I loved had basically all fallen into ruin. I was considering doing suicide, and she's like, shut the fuck up. Is Pluton here? I read a poneglyph. I read this rock that said there's a big ancient weapon here. I don't want to hear about your depression, your imprisonment, the loss of your son. I don't want to hear about your suicidal thoughts. None of that matters to me at all. Like, read this conversation. It's actually a hilarious conversation. I was barely able to escape this room. By the time I had a road, Odin was already dead, and Wano had changed. I contemplated committing seppuku there and then. Tengu-san, it should be somewhere in this country. The ancient weapon Pluton. What the fuck? This is so rude. What the fuck is this? But it's true. I think none of us were really interested in hearing anything more out of his mouth about his experiences. We've heard enough bitching from the people of Wano. We know the last 20 years were rough. We know everyone went through some shit. Tell us about Pluton. We're on Robin's side here. I just think it's funny how blunt she was. Felix C says more. No. We covered this. Cigar Verk. Oh, shoot. I scrolled straight past it. One more time. Oh, shit. Cigar Verk says, finally Zoro also had big Luffy-like smile. Yeah, I think there's so many characters to focus on in this chapter. I think when I get time, probably a little bit after this and maybe in between commercial breaks of the game, I'll probably just reread the chapter and kind of see everyone's reactions and everything like that. But I saw Zoro hanging with Denjiro. He seemed happy. He seemed, I think, like, that this is definitely, like, maybe the happiest we've seen Zoro, I think, even during, like, any sort of celebration. It's, like, a very, very big expression for him. Very rare. So that's nice to see for sure. Keenan, thanks a lot, man. We learned about Poseidon, presumably about to learn more about Pluton, but still totally in the dark about Uranus. Any last guesses what it could be? Do you still believe the giant straw hat theory? I'm still on board with the giant straw hat theory. I still like that. If not that, then it seems like Elbaf would probably be the place that we learn about it, just because we're kind of going through a bit of a pattern, I guess, of like Fishman Island, we learn about Poseidon. Wano, we're learning about Pluton. So then I guess Elbaf, that's kind of the last chance out of any of the islands, the major islands the Strats are going to visit, where they would learn about Uranus kind of potentially being. Also, there's that giant tree in Elbaf. Uranus is supposedly god of the sky and everything like that. So maybe Uranus is on top of the tree. I have no idea. Until then, I'm going to stick with the Straw Hat theory, but like Uranus could easily be something totally not that. Behenort says, if Im is the final boss, what if he thinks only he should be free because he's the strongest? It would fit with the strength equals freedom thing, like you said. Yeah, that's possible. I definitely think that's possible, but he may not even consider. I think at that point, like the Doflamingo mentality, Enel mentality, right? That's the mentality, the I'm all-powerful God basically mentality, right? So they don't even view it as freedom, more so just like their natural right that everyone else is beneath them and for them to manipulate and control. So it's basically, you know, you go all the way to the end of the thing of like, you know, max strength, basically you have freedom to do anything they want. They don't even view it as freedom anymore. It's just like their natural birthright. Glizza, it's just the natural, you know, state of things, I suppose. Glizzock_intern says, knew it, Green Bull was never fit to be Zoro's dad. Guess I can't drop One Piece yet. Yeah, the Zoro dad thing, I think like that took a hard hit here as well. Added to the list. JK Kane says, if Steph wins finals MVP, can I get a Morge plush? You got to buy it off the black market, man. There's none available left anymore. Wertio Man says, only 3 pirates will be truly relevant in the final saga. Buggy being a Yonko is a gag. Yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like, but it seems like Kid and Law are weirdly going to be relevant as well, but it's so hard for me to understand, like, how their crews are such ass. It's crazy. Again, you could combine their crews, and they're still, like, a joke compared to the Straw Hats. I mean, if you ask me who wins between Luffy versus Kid and Law, I would take Luffy every day of the week. I'm taking Luffy against as a dude, because Kid and Law barely beat Big Mom, and it was through shenanigans. Let's be honest, it was through shenanigans, right? There was some, if those bombs were like, it was through some shenanigans. She wasn't like KO'd by their attacks necessarily, although the attacks were clearly effective. I'll concede that attacks were effective, but she had to fall through Onigashima, get blown up by some TNT, and then fall through a bigger hole and then end up in lava. It was through some shenanigans, whereas Luffy kind of beat Kaido more so straight up, right? He was fighting blow for blow with him for the longest time. Advance conquers, like all this stuff. Like, if you say like Luffy's as strong as Kaido, if not arguably stronger basically at this point, whereas Kid and Law together barely beat Big Mom, barely with shenanigans involved. I'm taking Luffy over Kid and Law any day of the week. No question. I think he can beat both of them. That being said, honestly, I'll go this far. I'll say you could put together Kid, Law, Law's crew, so Beppo and company, and Kid's crew, so Killer. You can throw Killer in there as well. I still take Luffy over Kid, Law, and their crews. Maybe that sounds crazy, but think about it. I think Beppo is not going to be much of a factor. Does Killer really swing the needle over to their side? I don't know. I don't think so. Wertio Man says only... Oh, no, we covered you. Talha Jahan says, true raid fail was the bulls we greened along the way. All right. Mahavid Sadegi says, it's hard to find rationality behind why Buggy is a Yonko unless either gag or Shank's warning was that. That's why I said that. I think we'll find out kind of more so some things that happen over the course of this week. So I assume some crazy miscommunications and misunderstandings led to the belief that Buggy deserves the status of Yonko. If Buggy has a higher bounty than Luffy at the end of this, I think that might rub me the wrong way a little bit because, I mean, already I'm not loving that Kid and Law have the same bounty as Luffy, but like, it's like, all right, whatever. If Buggy has a higher bounty than Luffy too, then I get it's a gag, I guess it's One Piece and stuff, but it's like, it's hard to feel hype over bounties if, the gag overrides the hype. So then it's like, what's the point of the bounty in the first place if the bounty's goal is to make the reader feel excited and hyped? Jesus L says, Luffy finally defeats a Yonko. It's time he finally defeats an Admiral. Oh, I hope Green Bull doesn't just get rolled right now by Luffy, but there's no way Green Bull fucks with these guys, right? Like, there's too many of them. I think Luffy should beat Green Bull straight up, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Would be an interesting surprise. But no way with everybody there does Green Bull just beat there are 3 characters with 3 billion berry bounties. That's crazy. Justin Holland says, while Ace may have been the logical choice for the Sun God / Joy Boy, he at least went out doing the thing he loved doing, being Joy Boy's big, protective, inspirational, and mentoring big brother. Yeah, the Ace-Luffy dynamic, it gets better the further you go in the series. It does make rereading Marineford pretty special. Supreme Pirate King says, let's talk about how Momo gets his wimpiness from his granddad. Oh, man. Yeah, Sukiyaki kind of sucks ass, doesn't he? He kind of just sucks. Edwin Vargas says he escaped the imprisonment. So he escaped. And then he kind of just didn't do anything. Edwin Vargas, he took up swordsmithing as a hobby. So it's good to know that he entertained himself with crafts during these 20 years. Edwin Vargas says, do you think Pluton is the volcano? I don't personally think that. Andrew Connor says, what do you think of Luffy being captured as the tragedy in Wano and One Piece getting a marine invasion arc, like a marine invasion arc? That would be cool. I would love to see that. Drek the Drek says, in before Buggy actually ate the Hito Hito no Mi mythical model, some other made-up deity. Clowns represent joy, laughs, and smiles too. It's not just Joy Boy. That would be funny. That'd be funny. That'd be pretty cool. It'll be the second time that Shanks, it's a bit of a running gag then, right? Second time that Shanks accidentally lets a legendary fruit slip into, get eaten by somebody else, right? Felix C says, to be fair, Luffy was Yonko 1 level and Kaido one-shotted him at the start of Wano. Yep. William Marshall says, thoughts on Luffy's bounty being lower than Kaido's and Big Mom's. First time his bounty is lower than the arc villains. I mean, I'm not gonna I'm disappointed, but it's not the biggest deal in the world at the end of the day. I would have loved to see it higher just because that's more exciting. And I think especially the fact that like Kid and Law have the same bounty while everyone internally feels like they definitely are nowhere close to Luffy in terms of strength, accomplishments, influence, followers, anything, like basically in any capacity whatsoever. I think that's what rubs me the wrong way more. Like, I think if Luffy's bounty was 3 bill, but they had lower bounties, I'd be like, okay, that's, whatever. Maybe the world government trying to hide stuff. It would have been more exciting to see Luffy's bounty higher. But like with Kid and Law's bounties the same as his, you can basically tell like, fuck, they clearly split up the credit completely evenly. Whereas Luffy should get the lion's share of the credit and therefore probably a higher bounty than Kaido or Big Mom. Wisdom Minari says, Odin's dad, Morge, what do you think of that? No, I bought into Randy Troy's theory, so props to him for that and everything. I was already sold on that, so that wasn't a crazy shock, I guess, but it was cool to see. Rob says, injured and in prison, possibly Sea Stone as well. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're referring to. Injured and in prison, possibly Sea Stone as well. I don't know who you're referring to there. Ivan back from the card shop says, you think Luffy's bounty is... are you saying that like maybe that's what happened to the Beast Pirates? I don't know. Maybe. Ivan back from the card shop says, you think Luffy's bounty is Oda's way of trying to pretend to us Luffy only won because of the team-ups, aka not actually stronger than Kaido? I don't think so because multiple, like several times throughout the fight, it's stressed that like the battle, like they say the words explicitly, like you want to take him on one-on-one. Luffy's like, yeah. Kaido's talking about it being like just the two of, like it's stressed throughout it basically that it's like Luffy versus Kaido at this point, right? The narrator text boxes are Luffy versus Kaido. It's referring to it as a single person or mano-a-mano fight. Justin Holland says, maybe Flame User's true secret duty is to inspire, mentor, and protect your boy, even being decoy chosen ones. Blackbeard knew Luffy would be Yonko. That might be extrapolating a bit too much off of that, but like it'll be cool to if we've discovered something like that. Behenort says, raid fail would be like a Hail Mary at the end of a bad game to force OT. Would it really make the previous 59 minutes better? Yeah, like a great OT could save any game. Wertio Man says, Big Mom said part of the One Piece was in Wano. Now we know Pluton is here. Do you think it was planned all along by Ancient Kingdom that the ancient weapons would be used to destroy the Red Line? Hashtag always be Morgan. I don't know. Like, we have to learn more. I had my theory out there on, like, the end of... I mean, it's a long-running community theory, right? I just added my 2 cents to it. But I do think that it is very likely that ancient weapons would be involved in the destruction of the Red Line, particularly Pluton. Ignacio Sotelo says, in my opinion, Luffy's bounty is a callback to the end of sagas. And if East Blue Saga 30 mil, and if Paradise Saga 300 mil before Marineford, and if Yonko Saga 3 bill. I think that'd be cool, except like I think that East Blue was exciting to see 30 mil because he had passed up the other pirates. After defeating CP9 and everything, seeing 300 mil was really exciting just because it felt like that was such a huge leap up from everything before. We didn't even have other pirates really to compare. I think he had the highest bounty we knew of any active pirate at that point in time. This one going from 1.5 bill to 3 bill, and then having it tied with these other guys who really didn't contribute as much, and having it still be lower than the other Yonko and everything like that, I think it doesn't have quite the same feel to it as that 30 million or 300 million, At least for me personally. Grizzly Adam says, Green Bull's raid on the Flower Capital will end in failure. I think that's like close to a guarantee, right? Green Bull's not just taking out the entire alliance by himself. Just Law says, we're about to find out Admiral's greater than Emperor's. I don't know about that, man. But, I think easily from what we saw this chapter, I mean, I'd be on board if you're like, hey, Green Bull's maybe as strong as Big Mom or something. I don't know if like Admirals are across the board stronger than Emperors. Like, I'm not taking Fujitora over Kaido, that's for sure. Rainey says, I'm entertaining the idea that Oda's priority is surprising everyone. One Piece has been running for 20 years, so it might be reasonable. The raid was objectively set up to seem like it would fail because of how Oda writes, so maybe question mark. it really depends how deep you're looking into it, because the tone of the raid and like the way characters were talking, etc., was making it more seem so so aggressively optimistic and confident in like a given that like, yeah, we're gonna win here, it's obvious, and they use the word obvious like a million times throughout the raid that we're obviously gonna win here. So that was so like, if anything, it's like Oda's leading the reader to believe that, oh, they're gonna win, which was one of the big reasons why I'm like, there's no way that we just get an entire final battle with the tone just being like, yeah, this is like a cakewalk. It's obvious we're going to win. There's no way we lose. This is a guarantee. Obviously we'll win. Obviously we'll win, etc., etc. And like at no point in the raid was anybody kind of like stressed or concerned that like things would go bad. So that was like, it depends how you want to look at it in terms of like which direction Oda's playing with expectations in like, oh, well, it turns out at the end of the day, yeah, they did just win with basically nothing going wrong. Talha Jahan says Green Bull's fruit is great for a hostage situation. Yeah, that'd be interesting. True, because he can like do some shit with plants and like snag somebody. Diddle TT says Act 3 should have ended earlier if none of the build up with Kaido's dialogue was going to amount to anything. I mean, at this point, it looks like Act 3 is just going to end with them leaving Wano, I suppose, right? Goomba Boomba says Yonko's not having awakening is just baffling to me. Me too, man. I'm with you there. 100%. I'm as baffled as you are. Oh, shit. It's 9:12 EST. All right, hold on. It's Belong says, the raid will fail, Morge. That's good to know. That Indian guy says, such a good chapter. I thought I was that Indian guy. I did like the chapter. The chapter was great. The chapter was great for me mainly because of Green Bull. The early parts, I was like, I think the buggy part and the, I gotta sit on the, I don't know. There's other things going on that make me like, fuck. The game's not going the way I would like. Don't mind me. I'll just have this up in the, bounties and Emperor reveals, I think I didn't particularly love. But Green Bull was such a pleasant surprise. I think I also like the fact that he's not a softie like Fujitora. That's definitely a pleasant, pleasant reveal. Fuck. All right. Well, whatever. I'm not gonna look at the game for a second. All right. Tofi, thanks. Yo, Max, with Wano sadly ending right now, let's do this again. Do you think One Piece will have a really big plot twist which will turn the story upside down? No, not anymore. Ramen Stain says Luffy versus Heart and Kid Pirates doesn't change much. Luffy versus Heart and Kid Pirates doesn't change much over Law plus Kid. Yeah. Luffy would KO Conquerors Haki all of them, but Killer and Jean Bart. The Bart might be tough, though. Yeah, pretty much. It's like, how are they gonna have the same bounty as Luffy? When Luffy could smack all of, like, the captains and their crews together, probably, like, pretty guaranteed. Banner says, Morge, can you bless my friends Hissa, love for her crush, who we call... I'm so confused. Can you bless my friends Hissa, love for her crush, who we all call Spintronics Boy, and wish her good luck. She will need it. I can't understand what you're asking for here, but I'll definitely give my blessing. I'll give my blessing for most anything. You can have my blessing for that, that's for sure. I bless you. Be blessed. Ray Uchiha says, if Pluton was in Wano this whole time, Crocodile was never getting it. Yeah, Crocodile had enough. He's like, all right, finally found out where Pluton is. I just have to go snag it. Oh. It's in the country that fucking Kaido has taken over. That's good to know. Blue says, opinion on Green Bull being an Akainu fanboy. I like it. I like it just because Fujitora is such a Akainu hater. I think we need a bit more, it solidifies the threat of the Marines a little bit more. Not that they needed much more solidifying, I suppose, but it's kind of like, pre-time skip, obviously, it's like that OG squad of Akainu, Aokiji, and Kizaru. They just had like certain vibe to that trio just being super intimidating, and then it's run by Sengoku and Garp. So like post-time skip, it's like, okay, Sengoku and Garp are gone. Akainu's in charge. Obviously, we know Akainu's a big deal. He's a tough guy. Kizaru's still there. Okay, but we lost Aokiji. We got Fujitora, but Fujitora's kind of a softie. Not that he's not strong, but he's not too committed to marine ideals, so it makes the whole establishment look like a little bit more, like, it was stated, I think, by Jinbei in chapter 1050 that under Akainu's regime, like, the Marines have become even more tough, militant, hard-hitting, And then the first admiral we meet is Fujitora, who's none of those things. Obviously strong, not talking about strength, but it's like he doesn't give a fuck about what Akainu wants to do, etc., right? So it makes the whole Marines look a little bit shakier, I suppose. And then, like, a few factors such as Akainu saying, hey, Kizaru, don't go over to Wano. Akainu mentioning multiple times, like, we don't fuck with Wano. Wano's it's a problem child. It's too much for us to handle, right? So I think it was really cool to see Green Bull just come in. He's more aggressive than Aokiji or Kizaru or Fujitora or anything like that. He's, like, the most, I suppose, in line with Akainu's philosophies. So that really reinforces that idea that Jinbei was talking about in 1050, that the Marines have become an even more militant, aggressive force, right? So Green Bull probably represents that more than Fujitora. So we just had to wait a little bit to see that. And then in terms of strength, obviously, he's an admiral. He's strong. They're all strong. But it was cool to introduce him with a feat that just established, like, hey, he can just fuck up commanders left and right, and it's no problem for him. So I like that he's an Akainu fanboy. Dillionaire says, funny how Luffy covers his face on the poster plus in Gear 5th. Yeah, it's just a classic Luffy sort of, it's just how he does it. Bassem El-Madawi says, I think Kid and Law are going to have to recruit Alliance members to their crews, so Supernova as well as Minx. The 3 billion bounty helps in that way. Yeah, like, I would like to, I put out a video a while back, if you guys remember, talking about how, like, Kid maybe, at the end of Wano, basically having Supernova working underneath him, or, like, joining or allying with him. That would be nice to see. Appu's got nowhere to go right now. It's a little weird to think that Appu and Kid might be buddy-buddy again, but, they'd have to do some things, I guess, for me to feel more like, okay, 3 bill makes sense, other than, because otherwise it feels like the 3 bill is entirely just like Oda throwing them a bone for no reason. It feels purely symbolic, but nonsensical in the scheme of the world. Zaibatsu says, Green Bull knows who Luffy is. He knows he took down Kaido, and knows who else is there with him. Wouldn't the assumption that then be that he's confident that he's much, much stronger than Yonko's? It'll be some BS, but yeah. It depends, because you know how characters are in One Piece. Characters are, like, often so certain that, like, oh, you took down that guy? It's not going to be a big deal for me, though. It's not going to be a big deal for me, and then they go get fucked up. I think you can see that, like, 10 times per arc, It happens. Lots of times characters are just like, oh, you took down this guy? It's got nothing on me. And then turns out that guy was a bigger deal than you. So it's just something that happens. Jason Matthews says, Blackbeard had to do so much pre- and post-time skip to get a bounty of 2.24 billion, and Kid gets 3 bills so easily, lol. Whoa, actually, hold up right there. Everyone, let's talk about Jason Matthews and what he just said, because that's actually something that put things into hard perspective. So Blackbeard kills Whitebeard, right? So he kills the guy with the highest bounty already. I guess maybe Dragon at higher or something like that. But Blackbeard kills Whitebeard, the guy that... Blackbeard starts the whole war of Marineford, kills Whitebeard, takes his fruit, the fruit that the world government fears can destroy the entire world, right? So he murders Whitebeard. Obviously, you can be like, oh, well, he didn't murder Whitebeard single-handedly, blah, 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 blah. Well, neither did Law or Kid. They didn't do shit to Big Mom by themselves. They couldn't do shit to Big Mom by themselves. It was a team effort, and, like, we don't even know if she's dead, right? But he starts off by killing Whitebeard and taking his fruit. And Marineford Blackbeard, I would honestly say, like, once you got the Gura Gura no Mi, I would take him over Kid and Law in a fight any day. Like Blackbeard right now with the Gura Gura no Mi and the Yami Yami no Mi. Yeah, I'm taking him over Kid or Law in terms of individual strength. His crew is made up of level 6 impel down prisoners. Not just Killer and the nobodies like Kid or Beppo the fucking... like, Beppo's about as useful as an actual polar bear, right? Is he not about as useful as an actual polar bear? Is there evidence in the story to suggest that Beppo is any stronger than just a normal fucking polar bear? I don't know. I'd have to go... a polar bear that knows Kung Fu, granted. But still, has he done that much more over the course of the story than you would expect a polar bear to do in terms of combat? I don't personally think so. So Blackbeard walks out of Marineford Think about this. Blackbeard walks out of Marineford with the most powerful, arguably the two most powerful fruits in existence, right? Killed Whitebeard, the world's quote-unquote strongest man, highest pirate bounty in existence, the guy that the whole world government was shitting their pants about. He orchestrated, in fact, this entire war, right? He caused the breakout of Impel Down, so Luffy caused it partly, but Blackbeard really caused it to go to shit when he opened the gates to all the Impel Down level 6 prisoners, a way bigger deal than what Luffy did. So he does all that. He walks out with, like, a ridiculously strong crew. Again, way stronger than Kid and Lost crews, by far. It's not even comparable. It's like, it's a joke. You can't compare. I don't even have words for it. You can't compare whatsoever. It's just on a totally different scale, right? And even at that point, they're not calling him an emperor, and it sounds like his bounty's not that high. He has to do bonus overtime of taking over all of Whitebeard's territories, as narrated by Jinbei in chapter 1050. So he took over all of Whitebeard's territories. So he's doing overtime, right? Doesn't have to do any of this. He's already shaken the whole world by what he did at Marineford, right? He has to take over all of Whitebeard's territories and then defeat the remnants of the entire Whitebeard pirate crew. So Marco, Jozu, Vista, blah, 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 blah. And then that ends up with a bounty of 2.24 billion. And Kid, so what does Kid do? Kid gets fucked up by every emperor. He gets passed around, right? So they pass him around. Shanks is like, "Oh, would you like a turn? I'm just done with him." And Kaido's like, "Sure, just pass him over here." So Kaido fucks him up or whatever, and he just gets passed around the New World basically. So Kid gets passed around the New World, ends up in jail. He joins in on a plan that he had nothing to do with. Nothing to do. He was not involved in this plan whatsoever, right? Plan orchestrated by Luffy, Law, Samurai, Minks, Ninjas. You guys know how they title the alliance, right? So he joins in. He just bandwagons on to join with them. Does nothing to Kaido, for the record. Out of all the supernovas, he had arguably the biggest grudge against Kaido for what Kaido did to him. He does literally nothing to Kaido over the course of the entire rooftop battle. Funnily enough, he's the only one to do literally nothing to Kaido over the course of that entire battle. Even Killer gets his in. So Kid basically gets passed around the New World, bandwagons onto a plan that he had no part of, right? And then he participates in a battle against Big Mom where he and Law barely win, where she's clearly still got energy, power left in the tank, which she makes very clear. They both go all out. They cannot put her down. Luckily, through shenanigans and trickery, they're able to make her fall down a hole, blow up through some bombs, and end up in magma where she can't really get out of for whatever reason. Okay? He does basically nothing. His crew is still ass. Killer beats Hawkins, who is also ass. And he has a bounty higher than Black. Tell me, does this follow? Does this follow? Jason Matthews has opened up a whole can of worms that doesn't make sense. It's a can of nonsense, honestly. Can someone explain this to me? How does Kid have a higher bounty than Blackbeard? Like, even if you want to give Law masterminding credit, like, okay, he masterminded this whole thing, so that arguably gets him 3 bill. Makes no sense to me, but sure. Blackbeard also did a lot of mastermindery. He's, like, way stronger than either of these guys, right? Way stronger than either of these guys. His fruits are fucking broken. He's got a crew that's, like, 50 times stronger than their crews. He has actual empire, like an actual empire underneath him. He's a legitimate emperor of the sea. What is this? What is this? How are either of them even, like... It doesn't make any sense. Balsam first says, what if Kaido and Big Mom found Pluton in the volcano? Raid fails. No, the raid can no longer fail now that it's 7 days past, unfortunately. And I don't think Pluton's in the volcano, but that'd be funny. Ignatius Sotelo says, Green Bull is an environmental manipulator because the path to Udon is now a forest and he leaves flowers everywhere he goes. Also, he's a body mod since he can turn his body into plants. God of the forest, devil fruit. So some people are talking, is it Zone? Is it Logia? I always intuitively was just like, or instinctively was like, you know, if it's a plant fruit, it's probably Logia, but... maybe God of the, like, we got the sun god, maybe God of the forest. That's an interesting idea. That's for sure. Atharva Moggy says one word, inflation. Okay, but inflation works both ways then. Then Blackbeard's bounty would also go up too. It's like, they would just up the bounty over time to match inflation, right? I don't know. I'm a little lost on it. I'm a little lost on the whole Blackbeard situation. Joshua V says Kaido plus Big Mom equals 9 billion. Luffy Law Kid equals 9 divided by 3 equals 3 billion. I get that logic, but it just, in that case, it feels like Luffy got robbed and Kid and Law got the most unearned bounties of all time. You know what I mean? It's just like the least deserving bounties in One Piece history. And that includes Usopp and Dressrosa. That includes Dressrosa, Usopp, God Usopp, all that. I think once you said the Blackbeard thing, that really put it in perspective. How it just doesn't make any sense. Dom the Mom says, Morgius, what's your guess as to what happened to Jinbei's crew after Whole Cake? My guess as to what happened to Jinbei's crew after Whole Cake. Jinbei's crew after Whole Cake, I mean, I thought that there was maybe something really interesting that came out of it, but turns out nothing. So, like, at this point, my guess is they just got away. So, it's kind of crazy because to me, that was, like, set up as a huge cliffhanger. Like a really, really big cliffhanger. The biggest end of arc cliffhanger that we've ever had was Whole Cake Island. But then it turns out that Jinbei kind of just got there a little late. And I assume his crew got away fine. And it looks like the Germa are also going to be okay. Tomahawk PWPT says, what is going on in One Piece? I don't think I've ever felt or seen this story be so confused in its events. So many threads and ideas are just left hanging. Help me understand this feeling. I don't know, man. We just gotta wait and see. Like, I wouldn't overreact personally. I'm still looking forward to the next arc and everything like that. I think I'm just hoping that basically once we move to an arc such as Elbaf, which is going to have a much smaller cast of characters, hopefully, and just less stuff to manage, we just avoid, I guess, the ending of Wano sort of situation again, I suppose. But, yeah, I wouldn't overreact, really. I still have very high hopes for the series, and, like, the fact that Oda's having a month-long break after this, that's got to be pretty good, and, like, got to give him a good amount of time to really hammer out, I guess, like, the ideal structure for setting up this final saga, because Oda really does not have a lot of breaks, right? So since 2010, when he took his last break, to now, it's just been non-stop having to set up so many characters, so many running plot threads, such a large developing overarching conflict and everything like that. I think hopefully this break maybe cleans certain things up or something along those lines. But yeah. Lord Naga Viper says, do you think CP0 agent being named Guernica has some kind of literary significance considering what the painting symbolizes? If I was more educated, I'd know what that means. Let's take a look. Guernica. Is this going to be like blue waffle or something like that? Fuck. If I knew more about art, I'd probably be able to analyze this painting and break down to you exactly what this suggests about CP0. But to me, this painting just... okay, I could see a horse. I could see a bull. That's my full analysis on the painting. Michael Schoen says, world government wanted to downplay Luffy, remove the D, don't use Gear 5 photo. That could cause them to make the three of them have the same bounty, so Luffy isn't amped. But it doesn't make... If they wanted to downplay Luffy, then just don't give him a 3 billion berry to me, it doesn't make sense, because it's like, we're downplaying him, but we're also giving him, like, the third highest bounty in existence. What's the... I feel like it's either or there, you know? Like, don't give him such a ridiculously huge bounty. Is it... What's the difference here? You know, you're still calling... Like, he's still an Emperor of the Sea. He's still got a 3 billion berry bounty. It's... what... They could just not give him that high of a bounty if they wanted to. William Marshall says, put some respect on Beppo's name. Normal polar bears can't navigate the Grand Line. That's true. That is true. Actually, I don't know. They've got some good instincts. With the way the North Pole and the Arctic and everything are going down, and like things are really melting up there, I think polar bears have got to have some really good natural instincts to navigate around. So you know what? I'm not even giving Beppo that. I take Beppo versus normal polar bear. Besides the Kung Fu, I see no difference. Wisdom Minari says, when will Act 3 end? I'm just assuming when we leave Wano at this point, right? Like, probably as we're exiting Wano, it's like Hiyori's playing some goodbye music, curtains close. That just seems about it. Lord Naga Viper says, painting is about Spanish Civil War and fascism. So, if you look at the actual painting, you can tell that no, it's not. Everyone look up Guernica right now, and you tell me if you see the Spanish Civil War and fascism in it. I'm no painting analyst or expert, but I can tell you, looking at this right now, this is very clearly not about a Spanish Civil War. That's one thing's for sure. That's the extent of my art analysis, but I think I can guarantee that pretty much. All right, oh, it's a commercial. One sec. Okay, Ice Blizzard says, what will Big Mom and Kaido do now? I don't know, drown in magma and die? Ramen Stain says, okay, fun idea to throw out there, basically something like Green Bull, because he's plant abilities and things like that. Maybe he has the ability to extract them from deep down inside the volcano, although the fact that they're in magma maybe makes that a tricky scenario. But perhaps he could extract them, take them back to headquarters, imprison them. I don't know. Imprisoning them doesn't seem to work, or doesn't seem that doable, although sea stone cuffs in theory should do the trick, right? Ramen Stain says, only explanation is the one found Twitter. World government want one found Twitter. I don't know how you spelled this. World government wants it to seem like the three took Kaido down together, therefore same bounties. Also, you keep forgetting about how Law has Bart, easily commander level. All right, so let's be very clear here. Last we saw Jean Bart, I think he was getting fucked up. Jean Bart was getting so he was getting fucked up by basically I don't even know what to call them. Random minks. I think random minks is a little unfair, but whatever Pedro was, so whatever rank Pedro had in the minks, actually go one rank below that. And Jean Bart was getting fucked up by those minks, if you remember back in Zoe. So that's kind of where Law's crew is roughly at. That basically you could take a solid squad of minks, not like the strongest minks. It's not like you need to call in Pedro or anything like that. You could just take a few solid minks and they could fuck up Law's entire crew. And that man has a 3 billion berry bounty. It's insane. Mr. Crescent says, just joined, can't stay, but wanted to say, can't believe they all have the same bounty. Agreed. Luffy should be higher. Agreed. He put in the most work and had more impact. It's not even about who put, I agree with you, but it's not even about who put in the most work or had the most impact in the war. Because that's obviously Luffy by head and shoulders, right? Obviously Luffy. It's about just everything else beyond that. Forget the war. Luffy's strength, Luffy's crew's strength, Luffy's crew's crew, which is the Grand Fleet, their strength, Luffy's crew's allies. So bring in the Happo Navy and all that shit, bring in the Kano country, bring in Dressrosa, bring in Luffy's allies, Wano, Fishman Island. It's on such drastically different scales. The bounty, what the fuck? Even if the world government accidentally ended up thinking that Luffy, Law, and Kid all somehow contributed equally to the defeat of Kaido and Big Mom, they can just sit back and be like, well, these guys have pretty much nothing going for them outside of the fact that they're decently strong themselves. Whereas Luffy has maybe the strongest pirate crew in existence right now, right? That's a discussion to be had. Maybe we saw what Zoro and Sanji did to King and Queen. It wasn't that hard. Luffy has maybe the strongest pirate crew in existence right now. Maybe the strongest countries in the New World allied with him right now. So Wano, Zoe, Fishman Island, right? He's just missing Elbaf out of the strongest countries, right? And he's got a gigantic fucking fleet of 5,600 members with many of the strongest fighters in the New World that all gathered at the Dressrosa Coliseum, right? It's it's so drastically out of proportion. It makes no sense, other than the idea that maybe they were trying to hide, people have been saying, maybe they're trying to downplay Luffy, but then it's well, then why the fuck you're giving him a 3 billion berry bounty in the first place? Give him a 2 billion berry bounty if you're down. This isn't downplaying. You're still giving him a gigantic fucking bounty. What is this? Shonen Empire says, what the hell is going on with Grim Reaper / Zoro? Oh man, Grim Reaper / Zoro. I hate to disappoint you, man, but that was 15 chapters ago. We're way past that. It seems forever forgotten. Yep. And now Zoro's roaming about like nothing happened. Thoughts on it? Thoughts on it is like, that is, add that to the list, man. Add that to the list of things that like, didn't super duper go anywhere, but were weirdly included. Banhort says, have you read Kaguya-sama? No, it's probably your server's second favorite manga behind One Piece. I don't know. All right, I guess that's just what my server likes. So much so we joke about actually being a Kaguya server. It's like One Piece of romance. It's that good. Doesn't it take place in a high school? How could it be remotely similar to One Piece? Justin Holland says, Volume 25 foreshadow Luffy's character Luffy's character analysis soon, ? East Blue analysis, 4 Emperor Fall impact analysis soon, other god model fruits. Here's my thoughts on that. Luffy character analysis, I think, needs to wait. East Blue analysis, not enough interest probably. I think the next thing that I'm probably doing analysis on is Wano. Wano, that's like the clearest thing to do the next analysis video on, right? Other god model fruits, I mean, there's like, so at this point we've got the Nika fruit, we've got the Ope Ope no Mi, which we know is a big deal. Maybe the Yami Yami no Mi turns out to be something big deal. Maybe even the Goro Goro no Mi. CK says, Morge, love how ruthless the world government are. If you get beat up once, you lose all land and titles, lol. That's just the way it is. CK says, also, it looks like the days of just the Straw Hats fam on a grand adventure are done. Not with this Luffy kid law setup. A pre-time skip crew for life. I like to think that we get maybe a simpler arc or adventure, a little arc, maybe with Elbaf without so much extra baggage maybe coming up. So I'm not going to go that far and say that. Let's read Mouthwash says, can you imagine how crazy Luffy's Gum Gum Gussie would be? If his fruit can pump his heart faster, imagine what else it can help him pump. Do I have to read every super? I feel like I shouldn't have to read every super. Drek the Drek says, Law's crew is carrot level. ? Yeah, that's actually, no, Law's crew is not carrot level. Carrot would fuck up Law's crew. There's no question. Well, they do get the same amount of screen time and respect. No, let's not do Carrot like that. Carrot is solidly above. Carrot is soloing Law's crew, no question. Carrot is soloing Law's crew, no question. I think that's not too difficult for her, right? Not too difficult in the grand scheme of things. I know people say a lot. Okay, Golden Rose is saying Kaguya-sama peak. I know a lot of people say good things about Kaguya-sama. I'm not trying to knock Kaguya-sama. I'm sure it's good, just not my cup of tea necessarily. Lord Nagaviper says, it is a cubist depiction of the town of Guernica in Basque Country being bombed by the Franco regime and the resistance of the people / horrors of war. So, I look like a giant asshole now. I completely misinterpreted this painting. I did not realize that it is depicting the horrors of war. I did not realize how much symbolism, anguish, and pain was woven into this image. So, a moment of silence for Guernica. I don't like the cubist style, though. Can I say that? It's not my personal favorite. CK says, Morge, the world government out here is... Oh, no. Wait, how far behind am I? What's going on? Why is chat so... What is this? What is this? I'm confused about my chat right now. Gia Studio says, Beppo's got territory. That one ice cube-sized iceberg melting in the North Pole. Oh, that's dark. That's brutal. Tittle TT says, what was Denjiro doing for 50 chapters? You gotta build. You gotta build to the excitement. So here's what Denjiro is doing. So he was obviously running around trying to find Orochi, right? But he got to Hiyori and Orochi's room, right? So he is about to run in, but he kind of peeking in from the outside. He's like, oh, this is juicy. Okay, you know what? They're clearly having a moment. The most dramatic thing will be if I come in at the last second and cut off his head and save her. That's by far the most dramatic thing. Denjiro wants his dramatic entrance. That's a fact. Remember, keep in mind, what did Denjiro do last time? He waited till like the last second. I think he was the last of the Straw Hat or of the allies to show up before the war, right? So Jinbei shows up, Kanjuro does his betrayal and stuff like that. I don't know if Denjiro was last, but like he likes his dramatic entrances, right? So he shows up at the end. He's like, aha, I'm here to join forces with you guys. And I brought some friends. They're like, yeah, Denjiro's back, right? So same thing here. It's like, what was Denjiro doing? He was just chilling. He was standing outside the room, checking his watch, Just kind of peeking in every now and then, being like, okay, so now she's put on her mask. She's playing some music. All right. Orochi thinks that, they're like this. Oh, she's doing the big reveal. Okay, some sea stone stuff is going on right now. All right. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's it. Things have gone south. Time for me to jump in and cut off his head and be the hero. That's basically what he was doing. Ivan back from the card shop says Law's crew ain't even Grand Fleet level. No. Like, you could take all of Law's crew. I don't think they would make a single division of the Grand Fleet. I'd take Ideo over Beppo, no question. Ideo was going even with Sai before Sai got his power up. I take, is there a okay, Orlumbus. I think Beppo could maybe take Orlumbus. No, but Orlumbus threw Zoro pretty far. I don't think Law's crew makes a single division of, I think if they signed up and they're like, hey, can we be like the 8th division of your Grand Fleet? I think Luffy would just be like, I don't need you guys. Although, to be fair, he said that to the original guys in the first place, too. Gushin McCurgy, hey, what's up, man? Who wins, Whitebeard with arthritis versus Jin with advanced Conqueror's Haki? I think Whitebeard canonically had arthritis during the Marineford War, so I'll take him. Samuel Hart says, if Robin, or concept of her, was on a different crew, do you think the Strahds would capture / torture her, as it seems Emperor / crew / world government, Emperor crew / world government would? No! What the fuck kind of a question is that? Hold on, so you think that, what is that even? Wait, Warriors won it all. What's happening? You think that if Robin, how is it that every time I switch over to this stream, it's playing ads? Is it fucking with, what is this? How, this can't be possible. Every time I try and see what's happening in the game, it's playing ads. This is impossible. So you think that if Robin was on another, so the Strahds would just reach a certain point in the journey where they're just like, all right, so we've saved all these towns and villages, right? Oh, fuck, we can't read the poneglyphs because we don't have anyone who can do it. All right, well, there's one woman in the world who can do it. What if we found her, captured her, and painfully tortured her below deck till she agreed to essentially be our slave and read poneglyph after poneglyph for us? That's a normal Strahd conversation to have, right? You guys could imagine that in this alternate reality where Robin doesn't willingly become their friend. Phantom Greyfire says, super, Miss Super, thanks that Phantom, from Taha Rahan. Perfect chance to increase Weevil's status, not Buggy. I mean, I've some ideas of what could have happened potentially during those 7 days off. I'm not too thrown about the Buggy Emperor thing, although I don't personally love it because I feel like, it's like you could say like, okay, One Piece, obviously you gotta love the gags and everything like that. If you can't love the gags, you can't love the series. That's true, but like at the same time, I love the series for the mix of like it knows when to be joking, right? Like it knows when to play gags and like flip something serious into something not so serious versus like actually getting the reader really hyped and excited. So to me, this is kind of a case of like, the title of Emperor. It was a very, very exciting title for 1,000 chapters straight, right? So for Buggy to now finally get that title, I think that does, I don't know, like, was the gag worth it? For me, no, but I'm not going to be like, oh, like, this ruins the story or something like that. For me, no, but it's like, okay, cool. If that's what Oda wants to do with it, that's what Oda wants to do with it. Now Emperor's not a big deal. Sure, whatever. I'm more put out by the Kid and Law's bounty situation and Luffy's bounty being so low. But, I do think that at the very least, like, there's some interesting stuff that could have happened in those 7 days that would justify Buggy having a bounty like that I might drop in a video during this long break. Duskwave781 says, have we ever witnessed a bounty get lowered? I don't think so. It seems a possibility that kids and bounties might be open to scrutiny after a confrontation with Green Bull. At least that's a thought I had. I just don't think Oda would do that, like, because that's like that's like hype killing. It's like, because there's Kid and Law fans, there's Law fans, I think Law fans would be very upset if Oda gave their character a certain bounty and then took it away. Miss Super, thanks Phantom Greyfire, from Billy Jefferson Lascano. I think Pluton Underground makes sense because Hades. Oh, that's a good point. That's a very good point. That's a very, very good point. So maybe it is underground. That's an extremely good point. Extremely good point. And Kaido and Big Mom, we're talking about, like, their primary goal was, like, let's get our hands on some ancient weapons. So who knows? CK says, more the world government is ruthless out there. You get beat up. Oh, no, we covered this. Tittle TT said, I hope Kyle and Big Mom. Yeah, okay. We covered all this. All right, hold on. Someone's playing a joke on me. Because... Whoa, what? What the hell happened? The Celtics were up. And now they've got, like... the Warriors are, like, doubling their score. What the hell happened? Yeah, TD says, I hope Kaido and Big Mom found Pluton underground. Lord Naga Viper said, okay, so Guernica summary out of the way, lol. Thoughts on the irony of CP0 guy being named for a symbol of resistance to an authoritarian regime. So I think you just spelled out the thoughts for me right there. That better than I could have, for sure. Which is, it's ironic. I think that Oda loves his, like... Sometimes when Oda does references to certain things, it's just like, okay, this seems like a random fucking reference. Like, why is Magellan named Magellan? Literally there's nothing that seems to, one doesn't seem to inspire the other. So sometimes he'll just pull a name out of something. But since this is a reference to a painting specifically, I do think that's probably very intentional. So it's like, oh, irony. Where are we at? Yeah, Mr. Crescent is saying, why is Pluton and Wano makes no sense. I feel like we're just getting to that point in the story where I suppose I was under the impression that Pluton was in Alabasta, but that's just because Crocodile was under that impression, right? So it was never truly confirmed. What the hell happened to this game? I'm sorry, guys. I'm just... What the fuck? 21-0 run? What? I was watching... No. I was watching ads every time I switched to the stream. How is this possible? What the fuck? I feel like I just missed the best part of the game. Did I miss the best part of the game already? What the hell happened here? You know what? We're calling the stream in 5 minutes. No more of this. I feel like, what have you guys done to me? Well, you know what? It's no one's fault here. It's the stream's fault. Not this stream, not the Morge stream. The stream that I'm watching on the side that has played ads for me every single time. Am I cursed? How is this possible? Every time I've looked over, it's just been ads. Till eventually I look over and it's like, oh, the Warriors have like 40 and the Celtics have like 10. How did this happen? But you know what? Good. This is how it should be. Maybe I jinx it, so when I start watching, it'll just become terrible. And then they just start losing. Who knows? These things are possible. Brandon King says, Onigashima is Pluton. That's Onigashima's first name. You know, Brandon King, let me tell you something. Every time that you comment, it throws me for a loop. Because there was a kid named Brandon King who went to my middle school. So, I'm just like, why is this person commenting on a One Piece stream? But I'm going to assume you're not that Brandon King. Onigashima is Pluton. That's Onigashima's first name. Wait. What? You think Onigashima is Pluton? Oh, now the stream's saying it can't play the video. I got to refresh this. All right. You think Onigashima is Pluton? That's brilliant. That'd be brilliant. Because the name was hidden. But that would mean that Marco knows what it is. That's a cool idea. Bang Bang says, tell me how Shirahoshi is more dangerous than Momo. Because there's like a million Sea Kings and there's only one Zanisha. So I think that one probably makes sense. All right. We're going to do 2 more questions, I think. And I think we're good. Two more questions. Eric416 says Morge lore. Yeah, I went to middle school. That's the only lore you could take out of that. What a shock. I also went to middle school. Nikolai says Morge hating? No, I think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. What, that like Pluton could be Onigashima. Jorge says Kaido built the castle, not the skull. Yeah, like Kaido didn't build the skull of Onigashima. Kevin Dreyer says, did we cover the Sabo panel poster? We did, in that I didn't really know what to make of it at all. But if you want my guess, I guess you do because you asked. But if you want my guess, I suppose it's just like maybe an enlarged wanted poster or something along those lines. But it also doesn't look like a wanted poster, so it's really hard to say. Okay, if we really want to read it, let's really read into it. Let's really read into this panel. So, the best I've got is Sabo's wanted poster. There's a flag. Okay, so we got a flag. We got a flag there. Someone's shooting, it looks like guns in the air. So guns are in the air. The chimney of the building that Sabo's poster is on is cracked and fucked up. So maybe there's some sort of battle or something like that recently. That's all I got, to be honest. I think I couldn't figure out anything. I kind of just said what I saw on the panel. Guma Booma says 1 month break plans. I'm going to be doing some fun stuff this month. I'm going to try to drop a different video. Okay, so One Piece videos, One Piece content will continue as usual, but I'm going to mix in a couple different things basically. So guys, watch out for that. But yeah, I think One Piece content will continue as per usual. I've got some stuff that, like, there's a lot, obviously, to talk about from this that I'm not discussing too much, such as, like, the Buggy Emperor thing, basically, that I think I'm kind of saving for dropping videos on during the month break. But at the same time, there's other things that I've also charted out that I think will be really exciting to discuss during this month break that are not One Piece related. Ivan back from the card shop says, the fact that Buggy is a Yonko over Kid-in-Law means he must have a higher bounty, meaning over Luffy's too. But like Blackbeard, as far as we know, doesn't have a higher bounty right now. Maybe we meet Blackbeard and he's got a bumped up bounty the next time we see him. I don't know. Because Blackbeard was up to no good last time we saw him too, right? Chapter 956, he was out to do some evil, about to commit some evil stuff. Gudliff says, please read the translator notes at the end of TCB. All right, let's take a look. Translator notes at the end of TCB. Chapter notes. Oh, okay, they explain the Picasso painting. It's a Picasso painting? Man, I look really uncultured at this point. Didn't know what Guernica was. Did a terrible analysis of the painting. Didn't even know it's a Picasso painting. Actually, an infamous Picasso painting. So this is one of the top tier Picasso paintings. Pablo Picasso, if you don't know, is one of the big name artists of all time. He's up there with all the great artists. Okay, so Ryukogyu, he's based off of Harada Yoshio. Have I seen anything? No, I have not seen anything by this guy. His name Aramaki comes from the 1990 film Ronin Guy. He plays a drunk, lecherous Ronin. That's funny. Oh, it also features the actors who are the inspirations for Kizaru and Fujitora. That's really interesting. As well as a character known as Bull. The film's climax involves a redemption for Aramaki as he struggles to save a prostitute from Ocean from being executed by corrupt samurai. The execution. That's really interesting. And the name is a pun on seeding, which is an allusion to his power. Have I just not been reading these chapter notes? These chapter notes are great. They're really interesting. His tattoos mean death, river, in mind. Another death reference in Wano that probably won't go anywhere. Shinju is referred to as suicide pact / double suicide. So he hasn't eaten for 3 years. I wonder if that means anything related to this. It's usually done for lovers. A suicide pact at the river of death. Come on, man. How does one have all these death references, but then nothing comes of it? The tattoo itself seems to be a double reference to Harada's song Shinjuku Shinju and the Rakugo tale. This means nothing to me. Nothing to me. Alright, I'm going to look into this later, but I didn't know the chapter notes are that... Damn, these chapter notes are great. What's Arthur doing? Why do we need Arthur when we've got all of these great chapter notes done by TCB themselves? Are we just stupid? Okay, let's take a look at the stream now. If the score is... If the game's already over... Why is the stream not playing for me now? I'm gonna watch it on ESPN. I think I'm gonna have to watch it on my TV. All right. If you respond, you're a loser. Says we need a breakdown on the chapter notes. All right. Aerospace says a big death is going to happen. Didn't you hear? Izzo already died. How can it get any bigger than that? That? I sound like an idiot. All right, guys. We're going to call the stream there. I think this was a good chapter. Gives a lot to discuss. It's actually honestly a lot to talk about over the course of the break. 39-29 Warriors. Okay, so it's not over. I'll answer this last thing from Behenord. If Curry wins this ring and one more, is he in the GOAT debate? I mean, MJ would still be the GOAT, but he could be like Kobe or Duncan. You know, one thing I kind of realized is that it's really, really hard to discuss, like, if player does this, what, like, because you just look at them differently. You just look at them differently once they actually do it, you know? Because, like, you have to actually see them do it to, like, change your view on... It's just hard to explain. Like, it's very hard to say, like, if player gets one more title, gets two more titles. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to, like, let's say Giannis as an example. If you said, like, hey, if Giannis gets, like, two more titles, is he in the GOAT debate? I'd be like, no. But, like, imagine a few years down the line if I'm actually watching, right? I'm actually watching and, like, it's like, holy shit, like, Giannis seems really, really dominant. He seems as good as anyone else who's, like, ever played. He's, like, improved his game. Or like, actually watching, like, your ideas kind of just change and shift over the course of just watching a team or watching a player, like, beat every other team in the playoffs and, like, win a title. So you kind of got to, like, it's very hard for... Yeah, I think you can't just, like, throw out or imagine, like, okay, if Curry wins another title, then, like, that means he's automatically like this or that. You kind of got to watch and see it happen, you know what I mean? I don't think that, like, because off the bat, intuitively, I'd be like, no, it doesn't put him comparable to Michael, but maybe it puts him comparable to Kobe. I have to watch and see, though. Listerine Mouthwash says, don't see Yamato living to the end of the series, to be honest. Let's hope not. Let me just get these out of the way. Watakashi says, why is Big Mom no longer Yonko? She only lost Paraspero in this fight, and Whole Cake Island is 100% fine. Unless she's dead, this war doesn't matter for her. I mean, I think she's just considered done for. As far as we know, Whole Cake is fine. And as far as we know, Smoothie and that gang was able to overcome CP0. So that's interesting. Japanese Jim says, Morge bathwater when? Yeah, we're going to call it stream on that. I think we're done. Let me catch the rest of this game. Good to know it's not a blowout, and it's still a competitive series. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will talk to you all later. Still a stream on Monday, so watch out for that.